Welcome, weary traveler, to a quiet journey across a rugged and often subtly challenging landscape of human connection and ancient Norse tradition, marriage in a Viking warrior camp. Tonight, we drift softly back to a time when life was shaped by the rhythm of battle and the call of distant shores, to a world where personal bonds were forged amidst the clang of steel and the pursuit of honor. Allow the gentle current of these serene narratives, tales of wartime unions, enduring loyalties, and the enduring echoes of a strong, demanding culture to carry you, to calm your thoughts, and perhaps to guide you towards a tranquil stillness. Imagine yourself, if you will, not in the comfort of your present moment, but transported back, far back, to the year 860 CE. The setting is a temporary yet bustling Danish Viking warrior camp, perhaps on the shores of a newly raided land or deep within a contested territory. And you are, for the purpose of our quiet contemplation, a warrior's wife, one whose days are meticulously ordered by necessity and communal life, all while her spirit endures the quiet waiting for a husband's perilous return. You are quietly sewing by firelight, mending coarse garments, as the cold air nips at the tent flaps. The first sensation that might envelop you is the pervasive chill and dampness of your everyday existence. Your cloak is damp, a constant, subtle chill that settles deep into your bones, a quiet reminder of the exposed and rugged environment. Imagine the rough texture of the wool, the slight heaviness as you draw it tighter around you for warmth. This minor physical discomfort is a quiet mirror to the larger internal tension you carry. The dominant sounds would be the soft crackle of a small fire in the center of the tent, providing meager warmth and flickering light, and the distant, rhythmic thud of a distant axe hitting wood, the quiet industry of the camp. Your daily sustenance, though vital, offers little variety or pleasure. Your diet consists primarily of porridge, a simple, hearty gruel made from oats or barley. Imagine the warm, bland taste, the simple chewiness, the quiet act of consuming a meal designed purely for survival and energy, rather than culinary delight. There would be little of the rich, varied fare reserved for grand feasts, only the quiet understanding that this humble food provides, the minimal energy needed to endure another long day of work and waiting. But beyond these physical strains, there is a pervasive and profound societal dimension that dictates your very existence. Camp rumors threaten your honor. Imagine the subtle weight of unspoken judgment, the quiet whispers that might circulate through the close-knit community of tents. In a warrior society, a woman's honor, tied intrinsically to her husband's, was paramount. Any perceived slight, any hint of impropriety, could threaten her standing and, indeed, the reputation of her warrior spouse. The air would feel heavy with unspoken expectation, a quiet pressure that underlines every interaction. This segment immerses you in the sensory grind of being a Viking warrior's wife. You hear the rhythmic, insistent clanging of weapons from a nearby practice ground, the sound of steel on steel, a constant reminder of the brutal purpose of the camp. The pervasive scent of smoky tents would cling to your clothes and hair, a constant aroma of wood smoke and damp earth. And beneath all this, a pervasive, quiet tension, the pressure to uphold Norse virtues during raids. Imagine the quiet dread of your husband's departure on a raid, knowing that his honor, and by extension your own, depended on his courage and success. You were expected to be strong, resilient, and resourceful, upholding the values of steadfastness and loyalty even in the face of prolonged absence and constant danger. This pressure was not of personal anger, but of societal expectation, a quiet shadow that hung over every personal choice and subtle action. To exist in such a state, to navigate daily life within this confined, demanding, and constantly shifting environment, required immense, quiet discipline. It demanded a deep, often unspoken, understanding of both practical survival and profound societal expectation. A quiet resilience in the face of constant physical discomfort and moral scrutiny. and a quiet, almost meditative acceptance of limitations beyond your personal control. The rhythm of your days would be a constant, subtle negotiation of duty, endurance, and the deep, almost primal connection to the few moments of true emotional respite or shared humanity that sustained your very spirit. From the sensory grind of life as a Viking warrior's wife in camp, and the subtle pressures that defined her daily existence, let us now gently descend deeper into the heart of the union itself, the challenges of warrior marriage. These unions, forged amidst the harsh realities of raids and distant lands, were bound by unique customs and strained by the very nature of the Viking way of life. This segment invites you to observe the solemn vows, the symbolic gifts, and the constant tension of defying camp rules to stay united in a world defined by conflict. Imagine the unique setting for such a profound commitment. You might exchange vows by a shield wall, a powerful and symbolic backdrop. Imagine the quiet solemnity of the moment, the heavy wooden shield standing tall and formidable, a silent testament to the protection and strength that a warrior was meant to provide. The sounds would be hushed, perhaps only the gentle clink of weapons against the shields, or the soft thump of a heavy boot on packed earth, as those gathered stood in silent witness. The scent of wood and damp earth would hang in the air, grounding the ceremony in the rugged reality of their lives. However, the very nature of Viking life placed immense strain on these bonds. Long raids and warrior codes strained your bond. Imagine the countless weeks, perhaps months, of separation as your husband voyaged across treacherous seas, seeking plunder and glory. The anxiety of not knowing his fate, the responsibility of managing the camp in his absence, and the pervasive fear of loss would be a constant, quiet burden. The warrior code, emphasizing personal honor, glory in battle, and loyalty to the chieftain, often placed demands that superseded the needs of the family, subtly pulling at the threads of the marital bond. Yet, amidst these challenges, expressions of love and commitment found their own unique forms. Tales from the sagas speak of battlefield betrothals, a swift, grim promise made before or after a skirmish, recognizing a bond forged in shared danger. Imagine the quiet intensity of such a moment, perhaps a hand clasped firmly, a few murmured words, a silent understanding exchanged against the backdrop of a hard-won victory or looming conflict. These were not grand ceremonies, but raw, powerful affirmations of connection. Gifts, often practical yet deeply symbolic, also played a significant role. You might receive bone-carved gifts, small, intricately worked pieces, perhaps amulets or decorative items, carefully crafted from animal bones. Imagine the smooth, cool feel of the carved bone, the delicate patterns etched into its surface, representing a quiet act of remembrance and affection from a warrior far from home. These were not mere trinkets. They were tangible tokens of enduring loyalty, carried close to the heart as a comfort against separation. But always there was the tension of defying camp rules to stay united. While some marriages were celebrated, the transient nature of a warrior camp often presented situations that tested conventional bonds. Perhaps a warrior formed a bond with a local woman, or a wife found solace in a different company during long absences. Maintaining the sanctity and unity of a marriage amidst the shifting alliances, the temptations of conquest, and the brutal realities of wartime living demanded profound resilience and a quiet, steadfast commitment. The sounds would be the soft creak of stretched hide as you moved within your tent, the distant, muffled voices of the camp, and the quiet internal struggle against forces that threatened your bond. To navigate such challenging warrior marriages, to sustain a personal connection amidst constant upheaval, required immense quiet strength and an unspoken fortitude. It demanded a constant awareness of omnipresent danger, a subtle negotiation of desire with duty, and a quiet, almost desperate hope that the bond could endure. The gentle thump of a distant boot, the soft creak of a tent in the wind, and the pervasive, quiet tension of maintaining unity in a fractured world. These are the calming echoes of profound human bonds and the heavy weight of ancient Viking realities, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet battles waged within the human heart amidst the clang of ancient warfare. From the broad challenges that defined all warrior marriages, let us now gently turn our thoughts to a more personal narrative, one that illustrates the quiet resilience of love amidst the relentless tide of Viking raids. We consider the fictional yet representative story of Ragnar, a warrior inspired by the sagas, and Thora, his steadfast wife, whose marriage found a way to survive the constant upheaval of Norse warfare. This narrative traces their camp wedding, their shared struggles, and their enduring loyalty, told in a soothing tone that explores the nature of love amidst such demanding circumstances. Imagine Ragnar, a formidable warrior, skilled with axe and shield, whose life was a ceaseless cycle of raids and returns. His days were filled with the clang of weapons and the roar of the sea. Into this rigorous existence, a profound connection quietly began to form with Thora, a woman of quiet strength and deep fortitude. Perhaps they met within the bustling confines of a temporary camp, or by the flickering light of a communal fire. Imagine the subtle glances exchanged, the unspoken understanding that developed between them amidst the constant motion and uncertainty of Viking life. The sounds would be hushed, the distant lap of water against a boat hull being prepared for a raid, or the gentle sigh of wind through distant tall grass, as they found moments of quiet companionship. Their camp wedding, though perhaps simpler than those held in settled homesteads, would have been deeply meaningful. Imagine the exchange of vows by a roaring campfire, the flickering light casting long shadows, surrounded by their small community of warriors and their families. There would be no grand hall, but the vast, open sky above and the strong, earthy scent of wood smoke mingling with the salt air. The quiet sounds of a shared feast, perhaps the clink of horns filled with mead, and the low murmur of blessings from a respected elder, would mark their union, binding them together not just by custom, but by a shared understanding of the life that lay ahead. Their marriage was not one of leisurely domesticity, but one defined by shared struggles. When Ragnar sailed on his long raids, Thora would remain in the camp, managing the household, tending to what small plot they might have, and caring for their kin. Imagine her days filled with the quiet rhythm of chores, mending clothes, preparing simple meals, and keeping watch for the return of the longships. The anxiety of waiting, the constant news of distant skirmishes, would be a pervasive undercurrent. For Ragnar, his struggle was on the battlefield, facing the terror of combat, yet always carrying the quiet thought of his home and the wife who awaited him. The sounds would be the quiet hum of her spinning wheel, or the distant, rhythmic creak of oars as his ship cut through the waves, each sound a reminder of their separate yet intertwined burdens. Yet through these trials, their loyalty to each other remained steadfast. In a society where alliances could shift and life was precarious, their enduring bond was a testament to their quiet strength. Imagine the quiet relief of Ragnar's return from a successful raid, the reunion a moment of profound, unspoken gratitude, or Thora's quiet support during times of hardship, her unwavering presence a source of comfort amidst the turmoil. Their marriage, forged in the crucible of warfare, became a quiet anchor, a personal sanctuary amidst the larger currents of Viking expansion. This narrative, though a fictional exploration inspired by historical context, offers a meditative contemplation on the profound human capacity for love and endurance amidst the harsh realities of ancient Norse warfare. The gentle lap of water against a distant hull, the faint sigh of wind through tall grass, and the profound, quiet strength of a love that defied its challenging times. These are the calming echoes of deep, human bonds and the enduring spirit that quietly persevered within the Viking Age. From the quiet, personal resilience of a warrior's marriage Let us now gently shift our focus to a more tangible and enigmatic aspect of these ancient Viking encampments, the mystery of the warrior camp relics. These surviving artifacts, often found buried within the transient sites where Viking warriors rested and regrouped, offer a quiet puzzle, hinting at the intimate lives and profound beliefs that existed amidst the constant readiness for battle. This segment invites you on a soothing journey into the material culture of Viking battle camps, exploring the subtle clues left behind by long-vanished unions. Imagine an archaeologist, many centuries later, meticulously working on a quiet, overgrown site, perhaps a former encampment on a windswept coast or by a dark, still river. The quiet scrape of a trowel against compacted earth, the careful sifting of soil, might reveal something unexpected, a piece of intricately worked iron, or a smooth, surprisingly tactile piece of carved bone. This leads us to the quiet question: what do surviving camp artifacts reveal about Viking marriages? The very existence of such physical remnants, often discovered not in grand burial mounds, but within the mundane layers of a temporary camp, sparks a quiet curiosity. The itinerant nature of Viking warriors meant their presence often left less permanent marks on the land, making archaeological discovery a patient and challenging endeavor. Yet certain objects endure, silent witnesses to complex interactions. Imagine the painstaking process of uncovering these items, carefully cleaning away centuries of grime and piecing together their stories. The cool, weighty feel of an ancient artifact, a tangible link, would connect you to a forgotten past. Among the more intriguing finds are often iron rings. These might range from simple bands to more ornate, twisted designs. While some were undoubtedly functional, perhaps for tools or clothing, others carried deeper symbolic weight. Imagine an iron ring, its surface now dark with the passage of time, perhaps subtly textured from its long burial. The cool, unyielding feel of the metal would speak of strength and permanence. Their presence in a camp, distinct from grave goods, suggests their use in daily life or in less formal, yet still meaningful personal exchanges. Could they have been tokens of betrothal, or silent vows exchanged between a warrior and his intended before a perilous journey, binding alliances even in the harshest of circumstances? Another fascinating category includes rune-carved bones. These are often small, utilitarian pieces of bone, perhaps from a domestic animal, with intricate runes etched into their surfaces. Imagine tracing the sharp, ancient symbols with your fingertip, wondering about the message they conveyed. The smooth, cool feel of the bone would offer a connection to the quiet hands that once carved them. These runes could have been simple tallies, but they could also have been charms for protection, prayers for safe return, or even subtle declarations of love or longing carried by a warrior on campaign. Their very personal and often enigmatic nature makes them all the more compelling, hinting at the deep emotional lives within the practical, often brutal world of the Viking camp. Other potential finds might include small, personal adornments, fragments of domestic tools, or unique pottery shards from different regions, suggesting the diverse origins of those gathered in the camp. These seemingly mundane objects, when carefully interpreted, provide a quiet testament to the less obvious aspects of Viking life, the domesticity that existed alongside the martial, the personal attachments that endured amidst the constant threat of conflict. These artifacts prompt profound theories about their role in wartime unions. Were the iron rings part of a quiet, unrecorded hand-fasting ceremony before a raid? Were the rune-carved bones personal amulets exchanged between partners, meant to ensure loyalty or a safe return? Their simplicity often belies a deep personal or communal significance, acting as silent, enduring proof of promises made and hopes held in a precarious world. They stand as quiet reminders that behind the grand narratives of conquest, there were intimate human connections, made tangible and lasting by these carefully crafted objects. The lives of these ancient Viking warriors and their families, Though often defined by conflict, were also rich with material culture that held deep meaning and played critical roles in their personal bonds. The gentle scrape of an archaeologist uncovering a hidden relic, the cool, unyielding touch of ancient iron, and the profound, silent questions whispered by these enduring artifacts. These are the calming echoes of deep personal practices and the enduring mysteries of the ancient world, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet power of tangible objects and forging intangible bonds. From the quiet revelations of archaeological relics that whisper of personal bonds, let us now gently shift our focus to a contrasting, yet intimately connected, perspective within the Viking warrior camp, the demanding life of a Viking war leader. While the warrior's wife faced the anxieties of waiting and the subtle pressures on her honor, the leader bore the immense weight of decision-making, the burden of his followers' loyalty, and the intricate politics of both battle and personal relationships. This segment invites you to explore the commanding, yet often volatile world of Viking military elites, where power was forged in courage and maintained through shrewdness. Imagine yourself not sewing by firelight, but seated on a sturdy wooden bench within a fortified tent, or perhaps a temporary longhouse, the heart of the camp's command. The air here would feel different, perhaps thick with the scent of roasted meat and the rich aroma of smoky peat from a larger, more persistent fire. The sounds would be precise and measured, the soft thud of a large log settling in the roaring flames, the distant murmur of guards on watch, and the low, strategic conversations with your trusted advisors, planning the next move. Your days as a war leader would be filled with a different kind of intensity. Your primary role involves constant strategic thought as you plan raids. Imagine spreading out maps or charts made of treated hide, tracing potential routes across unfamiliar coastlines, assessing the strength of distant settlements, and calculating the risks and rewards of an assault. The quiet focus in your eyes as you weigh intelligence from scouts, manage the logistics of supplies and manpower, and make decisions that would determine the fate of your followers. The rhythmic scratch of a dagger being sharpened nearby, a constant reminder of the tools of your trade, would punctuate these discussions. Life in the leader's tent, though burdened with responsibility, also offered a degree of communal bonding and prestige. You would frequently feast on boar or other substantial game, roasted over an open fire, shared generously with your trusted warriors. Imagine the rich, savory aroma of the meat, the warmth of the fire on your face, and the camaraderie of the shared meal. Drinking horns filled with mead or ale would be passed around, the gentle clinking of the horns accompanying tales of past exploits and boasts of future victories. These feasts were not just for sustenance. They were vital for solidifying loyalty, boosting morale, and fostering the cohesion essential for successful raiding. However, the world of the Viking war leader was fraught with constant challenges. Warrior unrest was a subtle, yet potentially devastating, threat to your authority. Imagine detecting the quiet discontent among your ranks, perhaps a grumbling about insufficient spoils, a challenge to your leadership in a moment of weakness, or a brewing rivalry between ambitious jarls. Maintaining morale, balancing rewards and discipline, and preventing open defiance or desertion demanded continuous vigilance and strong personal authority. The air might carry a low, simmering tension, unseen but deeply felt. Furthermore, marriage disputes among your followers, or even within your own immediate family, could test your authority and the camp's stability. These were not just private matters. They could have profound political implications. Imagine arbitrating a conflict over a dowry or dealing with an accusation of infidelity that threatened the honor of a key warrior. Your decisions in such matters would demonstrate your wisdom and fairness, crucial for maintaining the trust and respect of your followers. A poorly handled dispute could unravel alliances and sow discord within your fighting force. Your authority, therefore, was not merely inherited, but constantly earned and re-earned through your prowess in battle. Your wisdom in counsel, your generosity to your followers, and your unwavering ability to maintain order among a fiercely independent group of warriors. Your leadership shaped the destiny of your followers and influenced the broader currents of Viking expansion. This segment explores the complex, demanding world of the Viking war leader, a life commanding respect and fear, yet profoundly burdened by the immense responsibilities of strategic planning, communal management, and the intricate challenges of maintaining internal harmony amidst a volatile environment. From the strong thud of a log in the fire and the communal clinking of drinking horns, to the profound, silent weight of warrior unrest and the careful navigation of personal disputes. These are the calming echoes of a unique leadership experience, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the intricate web of power, loyalty, and social survival within the ancient Viking world. From the commanding yet volatile world of Viking war leaders and the immediate realities of the warrior camp, let us now gently expand our view to the enduring bedrock of Viking society, the homesteads, and the profound concepts of destiny and lasting bonds that extended far beyond the transient nature of a raiding expedition. Marriage in this broader context was not just about companionship in a camp. It was a fundamental pillar for establishing lineage, securing land, and weaving a family's place into the tapestry of Norse society. This segment invites you to contemplate the quiet continuity of life and belief that grounded the adventurous spirit of the Vikings. Imagine yourself not amidst the temporary tents of a camp, but within the sturdy, smoke-filled interior of a permanent longhouse, the heart of a Viking homestead. The air here would feel different, perhaps carrying the subtle, comforting scent of earthy soil mixed with the pervasive, warm aroma of a continually burning hearth fire. He sounds would be precise and measured, the distant bleat of sheep from the fields, the gentle clatter of a loom as wool is woven, and the quiet murmur of generations living and working side by side. This settled life provided the very foundation for the voyages and raids. Marriage was absolutely key to this enduring stability. It was the primary means by which families secured and maintained their claims to land, the most vital asset in an agrarian society. This leads us to the quiet question: how did marriage cement claims to land, ensure lineage, and connect the transient warrior life to a more settled existence? A well-chosen marriage could expand land holdings, forge powerful alliances between families, and ensure the continuation of a respected name. It brought new hands to the farm, new connections for trade, and new warriors for defense. The quiet understanding of these strategic benefits underpinned many unions. Beyond land, marriage fundamentally ensured lineage, the unbroken chain of ancestors and descendants that defined a family's enduring legacy. Children were vital, not just for labor, but for carrying on the family name, maintaining ancestral rituals, and inheriting accumulated wealth and honor. Imagine the quiet satisfaction of seeing new generations grow on the land, their presence a testament to the stability provided by the marriage. The sounds of children playing quietly outside the longhouse, their voices carried on the wind, would be a gentle reminder of this continuity. Central to the Norse worldview was the profound concept of word, often translated as fate or destiny. This was not a passive acceptance of what was to be, but a deep understanding that all events were interconnected, woven into a grand design. Marriage, birth, the success of a raid, a warrior's death, all were part of one's word. Imagine the quiet contemplation of this concept. How did this fatalism affect their approach to relationships and life's challenges? It might have instilled a quiet courage in the face of danger, a stoic acceptance of loss, but also a profound appreciation for moments of joy and connection, understanding them as part of their unique path. The rustle of a leaf in the wind, a quiet reminder of unseen forces, might bring such thoughts to mind. Over time, as the Viking Age waned and Norse societies began to settle and interact more extensively with Christian Europe, subtle changes in marriage practices began to emerge. The slow, quiet integration of Christian influences gradually shifted some of the earlier pagan rituals, introducing concepts of spiritual vows and permanence beyond the grave that complemented the existing focus on lineage and honor. While not immediately apparent in the warrior camps, these quiet changes at the homestead level eventually transformed the very fabric of Norse family life. Ultimately, the warrior's wife was often also the homestead's mistress, the anchor that secured the family's place in the world while her husband ventured forth. Her role in managing the farm, raising the children, and maintaining the household was paramount to the long-term survival and prosperity of the lineage. The camp was temporary, the homestead enduring, and marriage was the bridge between these two worlds. This segment explores the quiet, underlying structures of Viking society, emphasizing how marriage, deeply intertwined with notions of homestead, lineage, and destiny, provided a profound stability that grounded the more adventurous and tumultuous aspects of the Viking Age. The gentle bleat of distant sheep, the steady crackling of a permanent hearth, and the profound, silent understanding of an unbreakable fate. These are the calming echoes of enduring traditions, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet flow of life and belief that shaped the ancient Norse world. So, we've witnessed the profound complexities that define this era, its ceaseless motion and its yearning for rootedness, its fierce independence and its deep communal ties, its harsh realities and its quiet expressions of love. It is a world both brutal and deeply human, a testament to the intricate and often resilient nature of human connection and societal evolution within a demanding historical tapestry. We know the pharaohs, but what of the quiet hands that built their eternal monuments? Tonight, we invite you to quietly walk in the footsteps of a Giza pyramid worker just for a day. A meditative exploration into why such an existence would be utterly unimaginable to us now. Imagine yourself, if you will, not in the comfort of your present moment, but transported back, far back, to the year 2550 BCE. The setting is the sprawling, sun-baked Giza Plateau, just beyond the bustling activity of the emerging pyramids. And you are, for the purpose of our quiet contemplation, a worker in a Giza labor camp, one whose days are meticulously ordered by the relentless rhythm of construction, all under the unyielding gaze of the desert sun. You are quietly hoeing limestone blocks through the gritty sand, your shoulders aching with the immense weight. The first sensation that might envelop you is the pervasive discomfort of heat and dust. Your linen kilt is sweaty, clinging uncomfortably to your skin, a constant subtle stickiness that reminds you of the relentless toil. Imagine the coarse texture of the fabric against your skin, the slight chafing as you move with strained effort. This minor physical discomfort is a quiet mirror to the larger internal pressure you carry. The dominant sounds would be the rhythmic, distant scrape of heavy stone on sand, a constant cadence accompanying your arduous task, and the gentle clink of chisels from a nearby quarry, the subtle language of the stone being shaped. Your daily sustenance, though simple, offers little variety or pleasure. Your diet consists primarily of bread and onions, perhaps supplemented by a little dried fish or beer. Imagine the dry, coarse texture of the bread, the sharp bite of the onion, the quiet act of consuming a meal designed purely for sustenance and energy rather than culinary delight. There would be little of the rich, varied fare reserved for the scribes or overseers, only the quiet understanding that this humble provision provides the minimal strength needed to face another long day of labor under the punishing sky. But beyond these physical strains, there's a pervasive and profound sense of urgency that dictates your very existence. Overseers' shouts echo across the vast construction site. Imagine the sharp, authoritative cries cutting through the hum of activity, urging on the weary, directing the flow of labor. These are not necessarily shouts of anger, but of constant command, reflecting the immense logistical demands of the project. The air would feel heavy with expectation, a quiet pressure that underlines every stream movement. This segment immerses you in the sensory grind of being a Giza pyramid worker. You feel the pervasive presence of gritty sand everywhere, in your clothes, on your skin, catching in your throat with every breath. The scorching sun beats down relentlessly from a vast, clear sky, lending a sense of both immense scale and overwhelming heat. And beneath all this, a pervasive, quiet tension, the pressure to meet quotas for Pharaoh Khufu's tomb. Imagine the immense weight of this responsibility, knowing that your strained efforts contribute to the eternal resting place of a god-king, a colossal endeavor demanding absolute dedication. This pressure is not spoken as an individual threat, but felt as a collective expectation, a quiet shadow that hung over every swing of a tool and every heave of a rope. To exist in such a state, to navigate daily life within this demanding, monumental, and hierarchically structured environment required immense, quiet endurance. It demanded a deep, often unspoken, understanding of both physical limits and divine purpose. A quiet resilience in the face of constant discomfort and unrelenting demands, and a quiet, almost meditative, acceptance of your crucial role in shaping an immortal legacy. The rhythm of your days would be a constant, subtle dance of personal strength and broader imperial ambition, a silent testament to the gentle yet profound power of human labor dedicated to a sacred cause. From the initial sensory grind of life as a Giza pyramid worker and the constant pressure to meet quotas, let us now gently descend deeper into the heart of the construction itself, the daily toil of pyramid construction. These colossal structures were not built by magic, but by the relentless, organized efforts of thousands, each contributing to an unimaginable scale. This segment invites you to observe the specific tasks, the vital reliance on communal effort, and the ever-present dangers that threaten survival in this monumental undertaking. Imagine your position within the vast ant-like activity on the Giza Plateau. One of your primary tasks might involve the precise shaping of stone. You would carve blocks using simple yet effective copper chisels and stone hammers. Imagine the rhythmic clink of metal against hard limestone, the subtle vibration traveling up your arm, and the constant cloud of fine, white dust that settled on everything. The focus required to chip away at the stone to achieve the perfect angle and smooth surface would be immense. A quiet dedication to craftsmanship even amidst the scale. Once carved, these massive blocks needed to be moved. You would then drag sleds through sand, an arduous and often repetitive task. Imagine the collective effort, the straining of muscles, the shared grunt of exertion from your work hand as you pulled heavy wooden sleds, laden with stone, inch by painstaking inch across the uneven terrain. The soft, sifting scrape of the sled runners on the gritty sand, and the deeper, resonant groan of the ropes tightening under immense strain, would be the constant soundtrack to this relentless labor. Sometimes water or slippery clay might be poured ahead of the sleds to reduce friction, turning the dry sand briefly into a heavy, resistant mud. Throughout this demanding labor, a quiet hope and spiritual resolve would often permeate the atmosphere. You would pray to Ra for strength, the sun god, whose life-giving energy permeated the world and fueled the very daylight under which you toiled. Imagine a brief, silent moment of turning your face towards the relentless sun, offering an unspoken plea for endurance, for the energy to continue. This quiet devotion was deeply interwoven with the daily grind, a personal connection to the divine purpose of the pharaoh's eternal dwelling. However, despite these spiritual appeals, the harsh realities of the work pose constant threats. Injuries and heat exhaustion threaten your survival. Imagine the sudden, sharp pain of a slipped chisel, the crushing weight of a falling stone, or the slow, insidious onset of dizziness and weakness from the relentless sun beating down upon your uncovered head. The silent fear of a misstep, of a moment's lapse in concentration that could lead to a crushed limb or worse, was always present. The quiet concern for a fellow worker, collapsing from the heat, would be a stark reminder of the fragile line between endurance and collapse. A significant part of the construction involved the creation of vast earthen structures to elevate the stones. You would spend countless hours contributing to ramp building, hauling earth and rubble to create the colossal sloped pathways that allowed stones to be pulled upwards. Imagine the repetitive motion of filling baskets with earth, carrying them on your back or shoulders, and emptying them onto the ever-growing ramps. The soft, muffled thump of earth being compacted, the distant cries of work-gang leaders directing the flow, would define these tireless efforts. Throughout the work, a unique, rhythmic sound would often emerge from the collective. You would join in worker chants, not just for morale, but as practical aids to synchronize efforts when pulling heavy loads or shifting immense stones. Imagine the deep, guttural rhythm, the shared breath, the powerful unity of hundreds of voices rising and falling in unison, transforming individual strain into a collective force. These chants were a vital part of the work, a quiet testament to their organized effort. But always there was the profound tension of pleasing royal overseers in a sacred project. Your labor was not just for a king, but for a god-king, a sacred duty to ensure his passage into the afterlife. The pressure to meet the ambitious timelines set by the pharaoh's architects, to ensure the quality and precision demanded by the divine purpose, was immense. Your efforts contributed to an eternal monument, making every error a potential flaw in a sacred design. The quiet, watchful presence of the overseers, their expectations unspoken but deeply understood, would permeate the air. To navigate such daily toil, to contribute to a structure of this scale under such demanding conditions, required immense, quiet discipline and an unspoken fortitude. It demanded a constant awareness of physical limits, a subtle negotiation of personal endurance with collective goals, and a quiet, almost spiritual dedication to the sacred purpose. The gentle grind of collective exertion, the rhythmic creak of ropes, and the pervasive, quiet tension of monumental endeavor. These are the calming echoes of profound human effort and the heavy weight of ancient Egyptian ambition, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet battles waged between human will and the sheer scale of the desert. From the broad collective toil that defined pyramid construction and the constant struggles against heat and fatigue, let us now gently turn our thoughts to a more personal narrative, one that illustrates the quiet dedication and skilled craftsmanship that underpinned these monumental endeavors. We consider the fictional yet representative story of Sinan, the stonecutter, a highly skilled worker whose quiet devotion and meticulous artistry helped to shape the very core of the Great Pyramid. This narrative traces his labor, his camaraderie with fellow workers, and his profound, quiet devotion to the pharaoh, told in a soothing tone that honors the unsung builders of Giza. Imagine Sinan, a man whose hands knew the intimate language of stone. Unlike many who merely hauled or lifted, Sinan possessed the refined skill of a master stonecutter. His days were spent not just in brute force, but in the careful, precise shaping of limestone blocks, each destined for a specific place within the pharaoh's eternal abode. Imagine his intense focus, his eyes narrowed as he assessed a rough-hewn block, discerning the subtle grain, anticipating how it would yield to his tools. The sounds would be hushed, the precise rhythmic tap-tap of his copper chisel against the stone, a focused counterpoint to the larger, distant sounds of the construction site. The air around him would be thick with the fine, almost imperceptible scent of freshly cut limestone dust, a quiet perfume of his dedicated labor. Sinan's craftsmanship was not just a job. It was a quiet art, a profound skill honed over years of apprenticeship. He understood the properties of different stones, the relatively soft limestone for casing, the harder granite for internal chambers, each requiring a different touch. Imagine him patiently smoothing a surface, ensuring its perfect flatness, or meticulously carving an edge to fit seamlessly with its neighbor. His work required not only strength, but an almost meditative precision, a quiet conversation between his will and the unyielding material. Each perfectly shaped block was a testament to his quiet diligence and his profound contribution to a divine purpose. Despite the demanding nature of the work, Sennen found strength and solace in his camaraderie with fellow workers. He was not alone in his toil. Imagine the unspoken understanding among the skilled artisans, the shared glances of fatigue, the subtle jokes exchanged over a sparse meal. There would be a quiet respect for each other's abilities, a bond forged in shared effort, and the mutual pursuit of perfection in their craft. The gentle hum of many voices, barely audible but ever present, would signify the collective spirit that pervaded the skilled workshops within the labor camp. This shared experience, this quiet brotherhood of builders, provided vital support amidst the grueling daily routine. Underpinning Senen's tireless work was a deep yet quiet sense of purpose, his profound devotion to the pharaoh. In ancient Egypt, the pharaoh was not merely a king, but a living god, a divine intermediary between humanity and the celestial realm. To build his tomb was to participate in a sacred act, ensuring the pharaoh's eternal journey and, by extension, the prosperity and cosmic order of Egypt itself. Imagine Sennen, at the end of a long day, quietly looking up at the ever-growing pyramid, understanding his small, precise contribution to its immense form. This was not forced labor driven solely by fear, but often a quiet, deeply ingrained belief in the divine project, a profound spiritual connection to the very purpose of the monument. This narrative, though a fictional exploration, offers a meditative contemplation on the profound human capacity for skill, dedication, and shared purpose amidst the monumental scale of ancient Egyptian construction. The gentle tap-tap-tap of a precise chisel, the faint hum of many voices working in unison, and the profound, quiet devotion to a sacred cause. These are the calming echoes of unsung builders and the enduring spirit that quietly persevered in the shadow of the Great Pyramid, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet artistry woven into the fabric of ancient history. From the quiet dedication of the individual stonecutter and the collective spirit of the workforce, let us now gently shift our focus to a more tangible and often overlooked aspect of these monumental construction sites, the mystery of the workers' village relics. These surviving artifacts, unearthed from the dusty remains of the temporary settlements that housed the pyramid builders, offer a quiet, intimate glimpse into their daily lives, their beliefs, and the mundane realities of an existence often overshadowed by the grandeur of the pharaohs. This segment invites you on a meditative dive into the material culture of pyramid labor. Imagine an archaeologist many centuries later, meticulously working on a quiet, sun-baked patch of ground adjacent to the colossal pyramids, a place where no grand monuments stand, only the subtle undulations of forgotten dwellings. The quiet sift of sand through a screen, the careful brush of a small tool, might reveal something unexpected, a piece of a clay pot, or a fragment of an ancient tool. This leads us to the quiet question: what do artifacts from Gizeh's worker camps reveal about their daily life or religious offerings? The very existence of these extensive worker villages, excavated in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, sparks a quiet fascination. For a long time, the identity of the pyramid builders was shrouded in mystery. These humble settlements, designed to house thousands, offer profound insights. Imagine the painstaking process of uncovering these long-buried homes, cleaning away centuries of sand, and piecing together the fragments of an ordinary existence. The warm, dry feel of ancient clay, a tangible link, would connect you to the quiet hands that once shaped them. Among the more ubiquitous and revealing finds are often clay tools. These are not the grand chisels of the master stonecutters, but simpler implements, perhaps pottery shards repurposed as scrapers, or rough tools used for plastering or shaping mud brick for their own homes. Imagine the rough, textured feel of a handheld tool, still bearing the subtle marks of its ancient maker. These quiet objects speak of the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the workers, adapting available materials for their everyday needs, from grinding grain to preparing simple meals. Another incredibly common and insightful discovery involves bread molds. Thousands of these simple, bowl-shaped clay vessels have been found, indicating the scale of daily bread production for the massive workforce. Imagine the quiet repetition of baking, the warm, earthy scent of rising dough, the comforting feel of the molds as they were filled and placed in communal ovens. These molds are powerful reminders of the staple diet of the workers and the organized logistical effort required to feed such a vast population. Their sheer quantity tells a quiet story of efficient provisioning and the relentless focus on sustenance. Other potential finds paint a broader picture of their lives. Fragments of linen, simple sandals, and even traces of communal kitchens and bakeries speak to the daily rhythm of their existence. Small personal items, like carved amulets or beads, hint at their individual beliefs and desires for protection or good fortune. Animal bones found in refuse piles indicate their protein sources, often modest but consistent. These artifacts prompt profound theories about their role in daily life or religious offerings. Were the clay tools used in personal crafts during their limited leisure time? Were the bread molds simply for sustenance, or did some of the bread also serve as offerings at small, personal shrines found within the village? The presence of modest altars and votive figures suggests a quiet, personal spirituality, separate from the grand state religion of the pharaoh. Imagine a worker, after a long day of hauling stone, quietly placing this small offering of bread or a humble clay figure before a makeshift shrine, seeking protection or expressing gratitude. These were not the lavish offerings of the elite, but quiet acts of devotion from ordinary people. The lives of these ancient pyramid builders, though defined by monumental labor, were also rich with a vibrant everyday culture, evidenced by the mundane objects they left behind. The gentle sift of sand revealing a forgotten tool, the warm, earthy touch of ancient clay, and the profound, silent questions whispered by these enduring artifacts. These are the calming echoes of daily existence and the enduring mysteries of the ancient world, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet lives that built immortal wonders. From the quiet revelations of the workers' humble relics and the collective spirit of their toil, let us now gently shift our perspective to a contrasting, yet intimately connected, vantage point within the Giza labor camp, the demanding life of a pyramid overseer. While the ordinary worker faced the relentless physical grind and the constant threat of injury, the overseer bore the immense weight of managing thousands of laborers, meeting royal demands and navigating the intricate hierarchy of Egypt's monumental construction efforts. This segment invites you to explore the powerful yet pressured world of Egypt's construction elite. Imagine yourself not hauling stone, but seated on a low stool within a shaded tent, a slightly more comfortable dwelling offering respite from the scorching sun, perhaps near the edge of the bustling worksite. The air here would feel different, perhaps carrying the subtle scent of dry papyrus, a hint of fine linen, and the rich aroma of cooked fish from a prepared meal. The sounds would be precise and measured, the soft flicker of a reed lamp casting gentle shadows, the distant murmur of the vast workforce, and the low, authoritative conversations with scribes or junior foremen, reviewing daily progress reports. Your primary duty as an overseer would be to manage quotas. This meant not just urging on the workers, but meticulously tracking the number of blocks quarried, carved, and moved each day. Imagine the steady scratch of a reed pen on papyrus as you recorded tallies, consulted schematics, and calculated the progress needed to keep pace with the pharaoh's ambitious timeline. The quiet focus in your eyes as you balance the demands from above with the realities on the ground, ensuring the efficient flow of labor and materials. Every stone counted, every minute mattered, under the silent, immense pressure of the pharaoh's well. Life in the overseer's tent, though burdened with responsibility, also offered a degree of comfort and privilege. You would frequently dine on fish, perhaps grilled with herbs and served with fine bread and cooling beverages, a stark contrast to the workers' simpler fare. Imagine the satisfying taste of the cooked fish, the quiet moments of respite as you took your meal, perhaps discussing the day's challenges with a trusted colleague. The gentle clink of a ceramic cup being placed on a low table would punctuate these vital moments of nourishment and quiet reflection. However, the world of the pyramid overseer was fraught with constant pressures from both above and below. Worker unrest was a subtle, yet potentially destabilizing, threat to your authority. Imagine detecting the quiet discontent among your ranks, perhaps a slowdown in work, a sudden illness spreading through a barrack, or a rare but palpable sense of defiance from a weary gang. Maintaining morale, balancing discipline with incentive, and preventing desertion or open defiance demanded continuous vigilance and shrewd management. The air might carry a low, simmering tension, unseen but deeply felt, that could quickly escalate if not carefully managed. Furthermore, royal demands were constant and unyielding, perpetually testing your authority and ingenuity. Imagine receiving a new directive from a high-ranking vizier or architect, demanding an accelerated pace or a change in specifications for a particular section of the pyramid. The pressure to meet these directives, to achieve what often seemed impossible, required constant innovation and an unwavering commitment to the pharaoh's well. Your ability to anticipate problems, to swiftly reallocate resources, and to maintain the relentless pace of construction was paramount to your standing. The gentle clink of a papyrus scroll unrolling, revealing new instructions, would underscore these continuous demands. Your authority, therefore, was not just about wielding a whip. It was about demonstrating efficiency, precision, and an unshakable loyalty to the divine pharaoh. Your leadership shaped the daily lives of thousands and directly contributed to the realization of one of humanity's most enduring monuments. This segment explores the complex, demanding world of the pyramid overseer, a life commanding respect and often fear, yet profoundly burdened by the immense responsibilities of strategic planning, human management, and the intricate challenges of meeting colossal royal expectations. From the careful flicker of a reed lamp and the satisfying taste of cooked fish, to the profound, silent weight of worker unrest and the relentless pressure of royal demands, these are the calming echoes of a unique leadership experience, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the intricate web of power, order, and human ingenuity that built the ancient wonders of Giza. From the intricate management of overseers and the daily realities of the labor camp, let us now gently elevate our perspective, rising above the dusty plateau to contemplate the ultimate meaning of the pyramids, their profound cosmic purpose. These colossal structures were far more than just tombs. They were pivotal instruments in the ancient Egyptian belief system, ensuring not only the pharaoh's eternal journey, but, crucially, the continued well-being and prosperity of the entire land. This segment invites you to immerse yourself in the quiet grandeur of ancient Egyptian spirituality, where the act of building was an act of profound cosmic maintenance. Imagine standing on the quiet plateau at night, far from the bustling sounds of the day, gazing up at the immense, silent forms of the pyramids under a sky filled with countless stars. The air would feel cool and vast, carrying the subtle whisper of desert wind, and the gentle twinkle of faint stars would seem to speak of eternal mysteries. This leads us to the quiet question: how did the pyramid ensure not just the pharaoh's passage, but the well-being of the entire land, And how did workers understand their place in this cosmic order? Central to ancient Egyptian thought was the concept of Maat, the cosmic order, truth, justice, and balance that governed the universe. The pharaoh was the living embodiment of Maat, his existence and successful transition to the afterlife directly tied to the maintenance of this divine order on earth. Imagine the quiet, collective understanding that if Maat faltered, chaos would ensue, the Nile would cease to flood, crops would fail, and society would crumble. The pharaoh's successful journey to the afterlife was seen as essential for the very survival of Egypt. The pyramid, therefore, was not merely a grand burial place. It was conceived as a resurrection machine, a powerful tool to facilitate the pharaoh's transformation into an Osiris, a divine being who would then intercede on behalf of Egypt with the gods. It was a physical manifestation of a stairway to the stars, guiding the pharaoh's soul to join the eternal celestial bodies. Imagine the quiet reverence for this purpose, the belief that every perfectly placed stone, every smoothed surface, contributed to this sacred cosmic function. This understanding elevated the labor from mere toil to a profound spiritual duty, a quiet contribution to the very heartbeat of their world. For the workers themselves, even those at the bottom of the hierarchy, contributing to this sacred project carried a quiet significance. While they might not directly share in the pharaoh's opulent afterlife, their participation was seen as a way of upholding Maat. Imagine the quiet satisfaction in knowing that your physical exertion, your skilled hand, contributed to something so divinely important. This created a profound shared spiritual purpose that permeated the labor camp, a quiet understanding that their toil directly benefited the entire land and its people, ensuring the Nile's life-giving flood and the prosperity of Egypt for generations to come. Throughout the construction, and especially during the eventual entombment, various ceremonies and rituals would have taken place, emphasizing the profound spiritual significance of the endeavor. Imagine the solemn processions, the quiet chanting of priests, the burning of incense filling the air with a subtle, sacred aroma. These rituals would have marked key stages of the construction, blessing the materials, purifying the workers, and invoking the gods to ensure the success of the pharaoh's eternal journey. Even from a distance, the workers would have felt the quiet power of these ceremonies, reinforcing the divine purpose of their immense undertaking. This segment explores the quiet underlying belief system that imbued the pyramids with their profound meaning, transcending their physical form to become essential components of the Egyptian cosmic order. The gentle whisper of the desert wind at night, the quiet twinkle of ancient stars, and the profound, silent understanding of a shared cosmic destiny. These are the calming echoes of deep spiritual faith and the enduring mysteries of a civilization that built for eternity, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet relationship between human effort and divine purpose in the ancient world. So we've witnessed the profound complexities that define this era, its vast scale and its individual human effort, its earthly demands and its celestial aspirations, its rigorous organization and its deep spiritual underpinnings. It is a world both challenging and deeply meaningful, a testament to the intricate and often resilient nature of human endeavor and societal belief within an ancient, awe-inspiring civilization. What if your deepest desire wasn't just a betrayal of your spouse, but a sacred insult to the very ancestors who watched over your clan, risking not just your life, but your entire lineage's fortune? Imagine yourself, if you will, not in the comfort of your present moment, but transported back, far back, to the year 800 BCE. The setting is a vast, often deeply structured, complex unit of ancient Chinese society, a Zhou clan, and you are for the purpose of our quiet contemplation, a wife, one whose days are meticulously ordered by ritual and tradition, yet whose inner world may hold a profound, unsettling secret. You are quietly preparing ancestral offerings meticulously, arranging food and incense, all while subtly hiding forbidden feelings that stir within your heart. The first sensation that might envelop you is the pervasive discomfort of your everyday attire. Your hemp robe scratches against your skin, a constant, subtle irritation, a quiet reminder of the coarse materials of the age. Imagine the rough texture, the slight stiffness as you move through the ancestral halls, performing your duties. This minor physical discomfort is a quiet mirror to the larger internal tension you carry. The dominant sounds would be the soft swish of robes as people move with quiet purpose, and the gentle clink of ceramic vessels as offerings are placed. Your daily sustenance, though vital, offers little variety or pleasure. Your diet consists primarily of barley, a staple grain that provides basic sustenance but little else. Imagine the earthy flavor, the simple chewiness, the quiet act of consuming a meal designed purely for practicality. There would be little of the rich, varied fare reserved for grand feasts. Only the quiet understanding that this humble food provides the minimal energy needed to endure another long day of ritual and duty. But beyond these physical and emotional strains, there is a pervasive and profound societal dimension that dictates your very existence. Clan elders judge you. Imagine the subtle weight of their gazes, the unspoken expectations and their quiet observations as you go about your tasks. Every action, every gesture might be scrutinized, interpreted, or even subtly condemned by the powerful figures who uphold the clan's strict moral and ritual order. The air would feel heavy with unspoken expectation, a quiet pressure that underlines every interaction. This segment immerses you in the sensory grind of being a Zhou clan wife. You observe the smoky altars, the constant presence of burning incense, and ritual fires, lending a mystical, almost ethereal quality to the sacred spaces. The subtle scent of wood smoke and reverence would pervade the air. The sounds would include the resonant, deep tones of bronze bells, struck at precise moments during rituals, their echoes reverberating through the ancestral hall, signifying moments of profound spiritual connection and strict adherence to form. And beneath all this, a pervasive, quiet tension, the fear of being cast out for infidelity. Imagine the quiet dread of having your hidden feelings discovered, knowing that such a transgression could lead to public humiliation, banishment from your family, and a life utterly without social standing or protection. This fear was not of personal anger, but of systemic retribution, a quiet shadow that hung over every private thought and subtle glance stopped to exist in such a state. To navigate daily life within this confined, demanding, and ideologically charged institution required immense, quiet discipline. It demanded a deep, often unspoken, understanding of both ritual purity and profound social consequence, a quiet resilience in the face of constant physical discomfort and moral scrutiny, and a quiet, almost meditative acceptance of limitations. Beyond your personal control, the rhythm of your days would be a constant, subtle negotiation of duty, conscience, and the deep, almost primal, connection to the few moments of true emotional respite or shared humanity that sustained your very spirit. From the strict order of the Zhou clan household and the hidden tensions within a wife's heart, let us now gently descend deeper into the realm of forbidden desires, the forbidden loves of the clan, in a society meticulously structured by ritual and kinship. The transgression of personal bonds carried immense social and spiritual weight, turning private feelings into profound public dangers. This segment invites you to observe the subtle risks, the quiet communications, and the severe consequences that define clandestine affections in ancient Zhou China. Imagine the subtle interactions within the clan's daily routines. You might share glances during rituals, a fleeting connection across a crowded ancestral hall, a silent acknowledgement of a shared, unspeakable feeling. Imagine the quiet intensity of these moments, the brief meeting of eyes amidst the solemnity of offerings, the subtle shift in focus from sacred duty to a hidden desire. The sounds would be hushed, perhaps the steady rhythm of a ritual chant, punctuated by the soft rustle of robes and the quiet beat of your own heart. However, the weight of the clan's moral code was omnipresent. Zhou's strict kinship rules punished adultery with exile or death. Imagine the ancient texts, the pronouncements of the elders, echoing through the generations, clearly defining the severe penalties for such transgressions. The societal understanding was clear. A breach of fidelity threatened the lineage, dishonored the ancestors, and disrupted the cosmic harmony that the Zhou believed underpinned their rule. The knowledge of these punishments hung like a silent, heavy cloud over any burgeoning illicit affection. Yet, despite these dire consequences, human emotions sometimes defied even the strictest societal boundaries. Tales of such forbidden love speak of secret meetings by wells, a common and often solitary gathering place in ancient villages. Imagine the quiet approach under the cover of dusk or the early morning mist, the hushed voices, the fleeting touches, the subtle splash of water as a bucket is lowered. The well, the source of life, paradoxically became a clandestine sanctuary for forbidden connection. The sense of damp earth and cool, fresh water would surround these furtive encounters. Sometimes, a quiet, symbolic exchange might solidify a hidden bond. Imagine bronze token exchanges, small, intricately crafted pieces, perhaps halves of a larger token, meant to signify a secret pact or promise. The gentle clink of the bronze, the smooth, cool feel of the metal in your palm, would represent the profound, unspoken commitment. These were not just objects. They were silent witnesses to a dangerous affection, carried close to the heart as both a comfort and a constant risk. But always, the greatest dread was the dread of ancestral spirits cursing your betrayal. In Zhou's society, ancestors were not distant figures. They were active participants in the lives of the living, their favor essential for prosperity, their displeasure bringing misfortune. Imagine the quiet anxiety that would accompany every secret act, the fear that the spirits of your forefathers, watching from the ancestral halls, would witness your transgression and bring a quiet, devastating curse upon your family, your lineage, and your very crops. This was a fear far deeper than mere human punishment, reaching into the spiritual fabric of existence, to engage in such forbidden loves. To navigate such profound risks required immense, quiet courage, or perhaps a profound desperation. It demanded a constant awareness of omnipresent danger, a subtle negotiation of desire with destiny, and a quiet, almost desperate, hope that the secret could be kept. The gentle whisper of wind through reeds, the distant sounds of daily life, and the pervasive, quiet dread of ancestral displeasure. These are the calming echoes of profound human passions and the heavy weight of ancient societal norms, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet battles waged between the heart and the strictures of a structured world. From the universal tension of forbidden love within the strictures of the Zhou clan, let us now gently turn our thoughts to a more personal narrative, one that illustrates the profound cost of defying ancient traditions. We consider the fictional, yet representative story of Lady Ji and the warrior bow, whose hidden affection became a quiet tragedy, echoing the severe consequences for those who broke the rigid societal norms of their age. This narrative traces their forbidden love, its inevitable discovery, and the solemn punishment that followed, told in a soothing tone that captures the quiet sorrow of defiance. Imagine Lady Ji, a noblewoman within a prominent Zhou clan, living a life meticulously defined by duty and expectation. Her days would involve overseeing household affairs, participating in ancestral rites, and maintaining the honor of her family name. Her world was one of elegant silence and prescribed rules. Into this ordered existence, a forbidden connection quietly began to form with Bio, a warrior in the clan service. He might have been a man of quiet strength, his presence a subtle contrast to the formality of her daily life. Imagine the clandestine glances exchanged during formal gatherings, the hurried whispers in shadowed courtyards, the profound unspoken understanding that developed between them. The sounds would be hushed, the distant clatter of a warrior's training, or the soft rustle of her silk garments as she moved with quiet grace, carrying her secret close. Their forbidden love, though cherished in secret, was a direct challenge to the very foundation of Zhou society. Adultery, particularly within the elite, was not merely a personal failing, but a profound dishonor to the clan's ancestors and a disruption of the cosmic order. Believed to underpin the dynasty's power, it threatened lineage purity and weakened the clan's standing. Imagine the pervasive, quiet dread that must have accompanied their every shared moment, the chilling awareness that discovery would bring not just personal ruin, but collective shame upon their families. The inevitable discovery of their affair would have unfolded with a quiet yet devastating swiftness. Perhaps a servant, observing a suspicious glance, might have carried a whispered rumor to the clan elders, or a careless token might have been found. Imagine the cold, piercing gaze of the clan patriarch, the solemn assembly in the ancestral hall, the air thick with unspoken accusations and profound disappointment. The sounds might be the chilling thud of a heavy wooden door closing, sealing their fate, or the low, mournful tone of a bronze bell, marking the solemn pronouncement of judgment. There would be no dramatic outcry, but a pervasive, heavy silence. The punishment for Lady G, though perhaps not a physical one in the graphic sense, would have been a profound social and spiritual death. She would likely face severe public humiliation, stripping her of her status and honor. She might have been banished from the clan, sent to live in quiet isolation, her name removed from the ancestral tablets, a fate considered worse than physical demise. Imagine her slow, deliberate walk out of the ancestral halls, leaving behind all she knew, entering a world of solitary existence and perpetual shame. For Bao, the warrior, the consequences could have been equally severe, perhaps exile, or even a quiet, swift execution, his name erased from clan memory. The sounds associated with her punishment would be quiet yet final, the soft creak of a distant cart carrying her away, or the mournful cry of a lone bird, echoing the solitude of her new existence. This narrative, though a fictional exploration, offers a meditative contemplation on the profound human cost of defying the rigid traditions of ancient Zhou China. The gentle drip of water from eaves, the faint sigh of wind through empty halls, and the profound, quiet sorrow of a love that defied its time. These are the calming echoes of deep societal values and the enduring human struggle against strictures, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet tragedies woven into the fabric of ancient history. From the quiet tragedy of forbidden love and its human cost within the Zhou clan, let us now gently shift our focus to a more enigmatic aspect of their cultural and spiritual lives, the mystery of the Zhou ritual jades. These meticulously carved stones, often discovered buried in ancient sites, offer a profound yet silent glimpse into the clan's beliefs about love, fate, and the unseen forces that governed their world. This segment invites you on a soothing journey into the relics of ancient passion, exploring the subtle clues left behind by long-vanished ceremonies. Imagine an archaeologist, centuries later, carefully excavating the remains of a Zhou clan home or burial site, The quiet brush of a soft tool removing centuries of accumulated earth, the methodical uncovering of fragile relics, might reveal something truly exquisite, a piece of carved jade, its smooth, cool surface still holding the quiet luminescence of antiquity. This leads us to the quiet question: why were jade amulets buried in Zhou clan homes? The very presence of jade in such intimate domestic and funerary contexts sparks a quiet curiosity. Jade was not merely a precious material. It was imbued with profound spiritual significance in ancient China, associated with purity, immortality, and connection to the heavens. Imagine the painstaking craftsmanship that went into shaping each piece, the quiet dedication of the artisan. The subtle variations in its green hues, the cool, weighty feel of the stone in your imagined hand, would speak of its enduring power. Within collections of such archaeological finds, you might encounter various forms of these ritual jades. Some could be elaborate carved jades, perhaps in the form of dragons, cicadas, or by discs, symbols with deep cosmological meanings intended to connect the living with the ancestral spirits. Imagine the intricate details, the almost imperceptible lines etched into the hard stone, each stroke a deliberate act of devotion. Other finds might include ritual vessels made of bronze or ceramic, often decorated with patterns that echo the symbolism found on the jades, suggesting their use in offerings or ceremonies within the home. The subtle clink of a jade piece against a bronze vessel or the smooth feel of a ceramic pot would be the sounds of these ancient, sacred tools. These artifacts prompt profound theories about their use in love curses or atonement. Were some jades used in rituals to bind lovers together, perhaps in a quiet attempt to influence fate? Or, conversely, were they employed in love curses, not to harm, but perhaps to sever illicit bonds or to bring a transgressor to justice? Through spiritual means, the idea of atonement also emerges. Perhaps certain jades were buried as offerings, a quiet plea to appease offended ancestral spirits, or to seek forgiveness for a breach of ritual order, like an act of infidelity. Imagine the quiet desperation or fervent hope that might have accompanied the burial of such an object, a silent prayer made to the unseen realm. The very ambiguity of their purpose makes them all the more intriguing, a quiet mystery waiting to be fully deciphered. The lives of these ancient Zhou clans, though meticulously ordered, were also touched by human emotion and spiritual belief, which found tangible expression in these exquisite, enduring stones. The gentle brush of an archaeologist uncovering a hidden relic, the smooth, cool touch of an ancient jade, and the profound, silent questions whispered by these beautiful artifacts. These are the calming echoes of deep spiritual practices, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet power of human belief and the enduring mysteries of the ancient world. From the enigmatic ritual jades that hint at private passions and spiritual atonement, let us now gently shift our focus to a contrasting and perhaps more outwardly austere perspective, the life of a Zhou clan leader. While the clan wife navigated hidden emotions and strictures, and the forbidden's lovers faced dire consequences, the leader operated at the pinnacle of clan power, tasked with upholding the rigid ritual order and protecting the clan's honor. This segment invites you to explore the revered, yet deeply rigid and often precarious, world of Zhou's patriarchal elite, from their ceremonial duties to the constant pressures of maintaining family reputation and asserting dominance amidst rival clans. Imagine yourself not hiding Forbidden's feelings, but seated on a raised dais within the quiet solemnity of a grand wooden hall, the heart of the clan's authority. The air here would feel different, perhaps carrying the subtle scent of aged wood, the faint aroma of incense from a distant altar, and the pervasive quiet of disciplined order. The sounds would be precise and measured, the soft thump of a wooden block signifying the start or end of a pronouncement, the gentle rustle of heavy silk robes as you move with ceremonial grace, and the low, steady murmur of respectful attention from those gathered before you. Your days as a clan leader would be filled with a different kind of intensity. Your primary role involves preserving the clan's ancestral legacy and its social standing. You would spend hours meticulously overseeing rituals, from ancestral sacrifices to ceremonies marking important life events. Imagine the precise movements, the formal pronouncements, the deep spiritual focus required to ensure every detail adhered to tradition. These rituals were not merely symbolic. They were believed to maintain cosmic harmony, ensuring prosperity for the clan and favor from the ancestors. The very act of performing them was a demonstration of your authority and piety. Life as a clan leader, though filled with responsibility, also offered a degree of material comfort and social esteem. You might dine on millet, a staple grain, but perhaps accompanied by richer foods, carefully prepared meats, or fermented beverages reserved for the elite. Imagine the quiet, measured enjoyment of such a meal, a brief respite from the constant demands of leadership. These comforts, however, came with their own set of profound pressures. Indeed, despite these privileges, the realities of maintaining clan order presented constant challenges. Family dishonor was a subtle, yet potentially devastating, threat to your authority and the clan's prestige. Imagine receiving reports of a member's transgression, a breach of ritual, or, most gravely, an act of infidelity that could bring shame upon the entire lineage. The quiet dread of such news, the internal struggle to decide upon appropriate punishment to cleanse the stain, would be immense. A failure to address dishonor decisively could weaken your own position and invite scorn from other clans. Furthermore, the pervasive threat of rival clans constantly loomed, threatening your authority. Imagine the subtle political maneuvering, the careful alliances, the quiet intelligence gathering regarding the movements and intentions of neighboring clans. Disputes over land, resources, or ancestral claims were common. The knowledge that a wrong decision could lead to conflict, or even the diminishment of your clan's power, was a persistent, unspoken burden. Your leadership was a delicate balance of ceremonial precision, moral enforcement, and shrewd political strategy to ensure your clan's survival and continued prosperity in a competitive world. This segment explores the complex, often solitary, world of the Zhou clan leader, a life revered for its adherence to tradition, yet profoundly burdened by the immense responsibilities of maintaining ritual order, enforcing moral purity, and navigating the intricate web of interclan politics. From the soft thump of a ceremonial block and the rustle of noble silks to the profound, silent weight of potential dishonor and external threats, these are the calming echoes of a unique leadership experience, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the intricate web of power, tradition, and social survival within ancient Zhou China. From the intricate world of clan leaders and their constant vigilance against dishonor, let us now gently shift our focus to the overarching societal values that permeated every aspect of Zhou Dynasty life, the profound weight of ancestors, and the critical importance of ritual purity. In a society where the living were inextricably linked to the dead, moral transgressions, especially adultery, were not merely private failings, but deeply unsettling ruptures in the cosmic and social order, demanding a visible purging. This segment invites you to contemplate the mechanisms of public shame and the enduring belief that purity was a bedrock of societal well-being. Imagine the pervasive understanding within a Zhou clan that the actions of an individual directly reflected upon the entire lineage, stretching back through generations. The clan's reputation was its most valuable asset, a delicate fabric woven from adherence to ritual, moral uprightness, and ancestral favor. This leads us to the quiet question: how did moral transgressions profoundly impact the clan's standing with ancestors and other clans? An act like adultery cast a long, cold shadow, threatening not only the living members, but also, crucially, the prosperity and favor believed to be bestowed by the ancestral spirits. When such a transgression came to light, the response was often public and deeply symbolic. Public shaming was a powerful mechanism of social control, designed to reassert the moral order and cleanse the perceived impurity. Imagine a solemn gathering in a central courtyard, not with shouts or fury, but with a palpable, heavy silence. The sounds might be only the soft sigh of a hushed crowd, the quiet movement of elders, and the chilling silence from the accused, stripped of their usual social standing. The physical display of disgrace, though not violent, was profound, perhaps a public denouncement, a forced confession, or a ritualistic act of ostracism that separated the individual from the communal body. The concept of ritual purity was not just an abstract idea. It was a societal bedrock, believed to be essential for the clan's continued harmony and prosperity. Any breach of moral codes, particularly those related to family and lineage, was seen as an impurity that could offend the ancestors, leading to misfortune, poor harvests, or even military defeat. Imagine the quiet, deep-seated fear that such a transgression might bring about a devastating curse, not just on the individuals involved, but on the entire clan. The constant effort to maintain this purity permeated daily life, from meticulous ritual adherence to strict moral policing to cleanse the clan of such a stain. Atonement was often sought through ritual means, sometimes involving the very ritual. Jates we discussed earlier, or formal pronouncements to the ancestors. For the individual, the experience of being subjected to this public shame and the process of atonement was a profound form of suffering. Imagine the quiet agony of being shunned, the psychological weight of knowing you had brought dishonor upon your lineage. The social ostracism might have been complete, the person effectively becoming a non-entity within the very community that once defined their existence. The soft creak of an old gate gently closing behind a banished individual would symbolize their final separation. This segment explores the profound, quiet power of societal values in ancient Zhou China, where the actions of one individual could send ripples of consequence through an entire clan and into the spiritual realm of the ancestors. The subtle sigh of a hushed crowd, the cold silence of communal disapproval, and the pervasive, quiet dread of ancestral displeasure. These are the calming echoes of deeply rooted beliefs and the intricate societal mechanisms used to maintain order, inviting deep and tranquil contemplation on the quiet strength of ancient traditions and their enduring impact on human lives. So I've witnessed the profound complexities that define this era, its strict ritual order, and its enduring human passions, its deep ancestral reverence, and its harsh societal consequences, its visible structures and its hidden emotional landscapes. It is a world both ancient and deeply resonant, a testament to the intricate and often challenging nature of human connection and societal control within a tightly structured historical tapestry as the echoes of these quiet yet deeply evocative tales gently recede into the stillness of the past. Allow your mind to drift back to the comfort and tranquility of your own space, your own time. The sounds of ancient bells have quieted. The rustle of coarse robes has faded. The journey through this fascinating age is complete. May your rest be deep and your dreams peaceful. Good night.